How's it going, guys? I'm Andy Mueller with USGS. I was just going to talk a little bit about one of our experimental trap nets. This is what we call a Merwin net. They use it a lot more kind of out west to catch invasive pike minnow and stuff. So kind of the principle behind this net is it has a longer lead line than wings, and it's usually set perpendicular to the shore or the bank. And hopefully at night, fish will run along the bank and hit that lead line and come out and be funneled into the pot. And the pot sits offshore in a little bit deeper water. So we bought a Merwin net last year and ran it for a while. We haven't had too much success with it, but it gave us a lot of ideas of how to modify it to make it better. As far as setting the net, it takes about half an hour to 45 minutes usually. We usually start with the lead line, tying that off, and then backing all the net's stacked on all the way out until the end of the lead line. And then we'll have to have a tender boat pull our two wings out, and then we can back out from underneath this pot and anchor it. And so we have an anchor at the end of each wing and lead line, and then an anchor off each back corner of the pot, and anchors off the front corners of the pot to keep it open and keep the throat open fully. This net also has a small apron on it that kind of hangs down because sometimes we get in water that's a little bit deeper than, I believe this is 8 feet, the depth of it. So sometimes when we're in a little bit deeper water, this apron will hang down and hopefully keep the fish from just swimming right underneath the pot. Let's see, I think the throat size on this one, it's a rectangular vertical throat, and it should be 2 foot by 3 foot. Let's see. For checking the net, it has 3 different zippers built into the top of the pot. And so we'll pull up behind the net and actually pull the whole pot into our boat and then just unzip it. Or if you have a lot of fish in there, you can just pull it up to the side of the boat and work it with a dip net or something. I mean, that's really all there is to it. If anybody has any questions or anything about it. Jessica? Okay, so the pound net is pretty similar. It's quite a bit larger than this net. The pot on that is
10 feet by 20 feet.
Yeah. And then that has a heart system in front of the pot, which is, I don't know if you want to describe that or.
Yeah, it has a double heart, whereas this is a single heart, and the first throat is pretty close to the same size as the single throat in this one, and the second throat narrows down to I think about half the size.
Yeah.
And the pot, the mesh size in the pot, the net that's set right now is a 1.5 square mesh, which mimics the same mesh size as the Merwin net here.
Yep. In the pound net, the wings, I think the wings on that one might be 3.5 bar or square.
3.5 square, yeah.
Yeah.
And each wing is approximately 200 feet, and the main lead or queen line is approximately 300 feet.
Yep. And
the big
both
difference between the two nets is this one is made to float in deeper water, whereas the pound net will actually sink once it exceeds its 10 foot.
And both these nets are kind of just a passive gear. We ordered this net, so the center line, the lead line, was just tied in because we were kind of anticipating at some point trying to herd fish into the net. And so we wanted to be able to extend our wings with block nets and get rid of this center lead line so that way we could get a boat basically all the way up to the throat with electricity or sound or the combination.
Andy, when you go to harvest this, do you have any way of pulling on one of these ropes and closing that throat so that you don't end up pushing fish back out the throat backwards?
We don't, but pretty much as soon as you start to pull up on the back, it flaps that, and it usually will collapse down. There is that rope right here in the center that we could attach a float to,
And that would just pinch it.
and you could pinch it up. But I haven't done that because I've been worried that it'll get caught whenever we're setting it or something, and we might accidentally pinch it closed, you know, for the overnight fishing.
Any other questions?
Does anybody have any other questions?
How long do you fish this for?
We usually check it every 24 hours, but
yeah.
you can fish it. I mean, we leave it out for weeks at a time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you could leave it out for a pretty extended period. Now, if you're in areas where you have quagga or zebra mussels that can colonize it, you got to pull it out about every month or so. We fished the pound nets up in Lake Calumet, and it took about 45 days, and the net sunk because it was covered in zebra mussels.
Oh, wow.
So then
That's a problem
retrieving
for
that net that is weighed down with zebra mussels significantly increases your time to pull out, and then having to haul it back, dry it out, pressure wash it, bleach it.
Wow.
It's a pretty intensive process. But if you do some preventative maintenance by removing it on probably a monthly basis, depending on water temperature and where you're at, to remove the algae and any of the zebra mussels or anything else to try to colonize.
You know, like marine fisheries, they often talk about soak times. They like to put things in for certain periods of time. Do you do the same?
In Morris, when we fished the pound nets, sometimes we would leave them set for a week before we go check them.
Oh, okay.
If the water temperatures were low enough, you have really low mortality in the pot.
So it works.
It used
Maybe
to.
washes out
back when there was a
stranger.
lot more fish up
Yeah,
there. Back
yeah.
in 2010 to 2012, we used to have pretty decent catch rates for sets. But since then, and they're doing all their removals. Yep.
Yeah.
Andy, in Missouri, if we set a net like this overnight and it's on the surface, chances are about 50-50 that you have a beaver get into it and you need a big hole.
Yeah.
And they'll just sit right on top of the net like this and just eat it. You know, rather
Beaver,
the mussels
otter.
will through it, but the beaver will eat a hole.
Whitetail, we had one tangled up there in Morris
Whitetail.
once. Yeah.
And so, if you had the big beaver problems with this thing, leaving it out.
We haven't had any issues with rodents or anything with this net yet. So,
That's really remarkable.
I mean,
probably depends on where you're setting it, because if you set that thing in Missouri, you're going to have beavers just eating it for lunch. You know?
The floats are all gone.
Yeah.